Hello everyone, this is Tactical Lich here and welcome to another episode of Battle Replay. Today, thanks to Tianxingjian sending in yet another replay, we will have a Chaos versus Dark Elf combat. Now for the army builds, we have a line of Chaos Marauders in the front line for the Chaos side. And the second line, we have some more elite troops, Chaos Warriors, Mirror Guard, as well as Daemon Spew. Leadership-wise, Safarel coming in with Final Transmutation and Plague of Rust. In the mobility department, the Chaos went all out, with 4 Marauder Horsemen and Marauder Horsemasters maxing out on the Marauder Cavalry department, which is a very wise choice. They are an effective skirmishing cavalry with pretty decent melee stats as well, chipping away opponents' health with their javelins while still able to charge into melee combat if necessary. We also have a couple Chaos Warhounds, and the spotlight of today, the Soul of Damnation Hellcannon Regiment of Renown, meaning that they have better combat stats, better accuracy, and just better in general, honestly. Now, for the Dark Elf army, coming in with a lot of elite infantry actually, with 3 Hagenef Executioners as the front line, and that's basically it for the infantry melee department. And the back line, a couple of Dark Shards, and a Reaper Bolt Thrower. They are guarded by a lot of Dark Riders, a couple actually with shields, and a couple with repeater crossbow Dark Riders. In the middle, we also have the Slaanesh Harvesters, Regiment of Renowned Doomfire Warlocks with Soul Stealer. They certainly can dish out a lot of damage if there's a blob happening. Now, for the leadership, Sorceress with Shadows, and also Monolith's Darkblade. Now that's basically it for the army builds. Let's get this show on the road. With the numbers advantage, the Chaos Warriors push forward, using that numbers to overwhelm the Dark Elf lines, and also, of course, using all these Marauder Horsemen, Horsemasters to overload one flank, as they are all pushing towards one side of the Dark Elf formation, while the Soul of Damnation can afford to sit back and bombard the Dark Elf infantry, especially if they land a hit into these expensive executioners. They will accrue massive value. Although the Hell Cannon Fireball isn't hitting anywhere close to home, as the Fireball lands around the Dark Elf leadership instead of the more effective, densely packed Dark Elf infantry, wasting a couple shots in the beginning of the battle. Now on this flank, a Dark Rider with shield pushed forward, trying to fend off these Horsemen, Horsemasters, but with all 6 units swarming this one lone Dark Rider unit, they are probably not long for this world. While the infantry line are not exactly having the best time, as the Reaper Bolt Thrower are now bombarding the Marauders. The Daemon Spew charging head-on against these Blades of the Blood Queen are getting wrecked on the charge, though the Plague of Rust did help the Forsaken to get through a bit more of their non-armor piercing damage into the Executioners. The other Marauder units and also Chaos Warriors are delayed by these Dark Riders with shields, and now with a Word of Pain and Enfeebling Foe debuffing all the stats of these Chaos units, they are not going to hold for too long, as they are already breaking from combat, especially with Dark Riders charging into the back. On the left flank, the Marauder Horsemen are victorious in combat, now surging forward, going after the back lines for sure, but the Slaanesh Harvester is countercharging, blocking up their advance. After freeing up from all the melee engagement in the middle, while one last Chaos Infantry unit, Chaos Warriors engaging against Hagenef Executioners, actually got hit by some friendly fire there, so pretty unfortunate. Soul Stealer hitting all these Marauder Horsemen, Horsemaster unit, including massive value for the Slaanesh Harvester, healing up quite a bit of health, while they are taking some damage from melee combat, so pretty good stuff for the Slaanesh Harvesters overall. However, the Marauder Horsemen, most of them are still very healthy. This one unfortunately caught into combat against Doomfire Warlocks, so they're probably gonna die very soon. And these ones are breaking from the battlefield. Finally, the Chaos Warhounds got into melee combat, swarming this Dark Rider unit, but with the Dark Rider being so low in health, the better alternative is probably to free up one Hound unit to hunt down the Dark Elf backlines. However, with Murderous Prowess activated right now, whether they can actually win against these Dark Shards in melee combat is a question, because after all, Dark Shards do have quite a bit of numbers, 68 against the beat up 51 of the Chaos Warhounds, and also higher leadership, and now higher melee attack with the slight buff from their army ability. Hell Cannon just sitting back here, not actually shooting. Probably because no enemy targets are in range. You can tell by the Hell Cannon slowly inching forward, trying to get closer to enemy units, temporarily suspending fire support. In the back, Mala's Darkblade trying to hunt down Safrael get countercharged by a bunch of Marauder cavalry. To even things out, Malus activated his Power Ranger transformation, turning into Zarkan. Receiving enough buffs, no doubt can turn this engagement around, especially beat down Safrael in melee combat. I assume the Chaos player's plan is to drag Zarkan into melee combat, delay him with the Marauder cavalry as his health is slowly ticking away, while the rest of the units will be charging into combat against Harknave Executioners and Darkshots, trying to work them down as Zarkan is getting delayed in the backlines. Although charging in with Chaos Warhounds probably not the best idea. They are probably better in charging into the Dark Shards and also Reaper Bloodflowers, finish off the missile pressure. Even though Safrael with his staff as well as the rear charge from the dogs are doing quite a bit of damage to the Executioners, in return the Executioners and the Dark Shards are showing no mercy to these filthy dogs, who dare challenge their murder prowess. Another problem for Chaos is that Safrael, not exactly good against any target here. Yes, he can probably tank out some damage from the Slaanesh Harvesters, but with Mala's Darkblade or Zarkan hot on his tail, he is basically on the run. Now finally, Soul of Damnation getting into range is shooting shots into the Dark Elf formation. Not exactly the most accurate here, actually missing a shot just now. But with yet another shot targeting the Dark Shards, this time going straight for the middle of the Dark Shard formation, actually routs them in one hit. Well, the Slaanesh Harvester is still quite healthy, getting charged by Marauder Horsemen, but they should still be able to tank out the fight and win against them, as Safrael desperately runs for his life. As long as he can outrun Malus, he should be fine and staying alive. Although that's a real question whether he can actually do it. Without any mobility pressuring the Hell Cannon, it is free to fire. At this point of the game, most of the Dark Elf mobility is depleted in earlier engagements. That's actually one benefit from bringing in all these Horsemasters, as there's so much mobility charging down the backlines, disrupting, pressuring the Dark Elf formations. They can't actually free up that many Dark Riders or any Slaanesh Harvesters to go for the Soul of Damnation, allowing it to sit back and shoot. Now with the hits actually landing into the Harknave Executioners, the Hell Cannon is finally doing some clutch damage against the Dark Elves, earning some decent value. Things are looking pretty neat for the Chaos Warriors. As you can see here, the balance of power is pretty much in favor of the Chaos. Still, the game isn't exactly over just yet. The Dark Elves can still probably turn this game around, as long as they can send the Slaanesh Harvesters finish off the Soul of Damnation, while sniping on Safrael with Malus before he dies from the health drain. This is literally a race against time because only Malus Darkblade has the ability to finish off Safrael right now. There are still some Executioners to stand and fight, but they're so depleted, their morale simply doesn't hold up against a Safrael charge. Safrael, being the slippery chicken he is, jumping into different Dark Elf units, using that charge bonus to dish out whatever damage he can. Unfortunately, he still cannot escape the grasp of Zarkan, and man, he just gets melted over there. 40% of his HP gone in a couple hits. So all that's left for the Chaos is this one lone Hell Cannon unit, the Soul of Damnation. With Hellfire raining down against the Dark Elves, it is a race against time as the Harknave Executioners and all the Slaanesh Harvesters Zarkan slowly marches forward, trying to get to the Soul of Damnation before it can use up all the ammo and dish out all the damage. Of course, Zarkan and Slaanesh Harvesters being the cavalry units, they should be able to get there faster than the infantry, as the infantry are just all legging it for their lives. Run, run! But the problem is, Malus has run out of time, Zarkan dies, and now the Dark Elves are leaderless. The health drain is real, while the Slaanesh Harvesters actually charging into melee combat. Now you might think this is game over, but the Hell Cannon model being so huge, they actually block the charge of multiple Harvester models, blunting this cav charge. Coupled with the fact that they are still fresh from their own ability spams, and also their regimen of renowned combat stats, they actually beat back the tattered Slaanesh Harvesters, so all that's left are some foot-slogging Harknave Executioners and Dark Shards. The Reaper Boltfur is still in the backline, trying to snipe down the Soul of Damnation, but as a single model artillery unit, they have a lot of health and are rather tanky. So the Soul of Damnation holding the line, the Chaos Dwarfs never out, unbreakable. blasting these Harknef executioners with every shot as they get ever closer into combat against these Swords of Damnation. Slaanesh Harvester actually regrouped once, trying to go into combat again, but they shattered. And now with one shot into these Blades of the Black Queen, the Blades of the Black Queen shattered, hitting army losses, and the rest of the Dark Elf army routed under the might of a single Hell Cannon. Man, what an ending. Now, before we go into the post-battle analysis, I would like to thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, as I will be regularly updating on content like battle replays like this one, or wild builds, or tips and strategies for multiplayer. If you have any battle replays that you are proud of and want to showcase, feel free to drop by my Discord or send me an email with the replay attached. I'll be sure to check it out and see if I can make it into a video. Now for army performances, on the Chaos side, the elite infantry got absolutely dumpstered by the Harknef executioners along with these Chaos Marauders, only one unit of Chaos Marauder earning back their value. The mobility as well, floating between barely earning back their value or not earning back their value, with only these two Marauder Horsemen actually recovering their cost, and also this one single Marauder Horsemaster. The Chaos Warhounds though did earn back their worth, but still, they could have done more if they actually went in to hunt down the Dark Shards. The damage dealing units of this Chaos build is Saphrael as well as the Sword of Damnation. Saphrael, with the Finals Transmutation and his annoying charges animations, he is a pretty slippery threat to deal with. Using the animation to disrupt enemy units and also Final Transmutation, a very effective damage dealing spell, he was able to drain the life of a lot of blobbed up Dark Elf units. And Sword of Damnation, we all saw what work it did in the end, and also the damage capacity of the Hellfire Cannonballs. Obliterating the densely packed Dark Elf formation, and also fighting back the tattered Slaanesh Harvesters. The Unbreakable trait really coming into play in this kind of late game scenario, solely winning out in terms of leadership and sealing the fate of the Dark Elves. Also, credit to the Chaos player using the mobility of the Chaos side to pressure and occupy these Dark Riders, preventing them from slipping through the Chaos lines and cleaning up the Hell Cannon crew. As for the Dark Elves, the Harknef executioners not earning a lot of value here, not even recovering their own worth, as they were mostly fighting Chaos Chaff. Yes, they beat back the Mirror Guard, the Demon Spew, and also the Chaos Warriors, but still, being blasted by the Hell Cannon, they were not having a good time. Dark Shards, only 500 something value, they could have done more, but being disrupted by Marauder Horsemen, shots going into the shields of the Chaos Marauders and Mirror Guard and Chaos Warriors, and also getting disrupted by Warhounds, they could have done more. But in the end, when they were able to free themselves from the mobility disruptions, they were getting finished off by the Sword of Damnation as well. Dark Riders being rushed and overwhelmed by the Chaos Marauder Horse Cavalry. Especially this one poor Dark Riders being swarmed by 6 Chaos Marauder Cavalry. Yeah, that is quite difficult for them to generate too much value, as the javelins and also just numbers in melee combat really overwhelmed them. Reaper Bolt Thrower crew didn't really have too many targets for them to shoot at. Yes, they could try targeting the Sword of Damnation, but being a Reaper Bolt Thrower unit, they have less range. That means the Sword of Damnation were just sitting back away from the sniping range of these Reaper Bolt Thrower, denying the damage for the Reaper Bolt Thrower. As for leadership, Sorceress of Shadow, the one pendulum that they dropped didn't really accrue too much value. After that, she actually dropped an enfeebling foe on the Mirror Guard, leading to the unit's destruction, but then she in turn got wrecked by a 1-2 punch from Saphrael. A Final Transmutation on her, plus Saphrael charging into her, beating her down with his staff. She was promptly shattered on the battlefield. While Malus Darkblade, mostly fighting through the numbers of these Marauder Horse Cavalry, getting some kills, but most of them are cheap kills. He did land a few hits on Saphrael, doing some damage, but Saphrael actually did more damage to his Malus form, forcing him to turn into Zarkan early. And yeah, that's basically it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.